The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Kelly, to strike the last word.
Thank you, Chairman. And I know on both sides of the aisle we're very sincere about who it is that we are and who it is that we want to be, and we want to help as many of our citizens as we can. I think that sometimes, though, we get confused. I have been listening now for quite some time about all the things that we are not. All the weaknesses of America, all of the bad things about America, all of the things that just don't make sense. How in the world could we possibly think of ourselves as being anything but irresponsible and unable to respond to people in need? I'm just trying to understand what the rest of the world doesn't know, why they are streaming into our southern borders, why we are loading people up in Afghanistan, and they all seek to come one place because it is the only place they can find sanctuary, and is the United States of America. I would just caution members on both sides of the aisle to please take a look at reality. Now, I have a picture here because we are facing this. This is an iceberg, and people say, well, why in the hell would Kelly bring a picture of an iceberg? I want you to look at this as our debt. We are facing a titanic moment in our country. We see this part, but we don't see the other part that's below the surface. We think that we can spend our way into prosperity. We think that we can tax our way into prosperity. We think that we can put a heavier load on the people who actually produce the revenue to fund all these wonderful programs by making it harder for them to be successful. All in the prisons. Well, we just need to be better. Our funded and unfunded liabilities right now, my friends, is not $30 trillion. It's $130 trillion. There's not enough paper in the world for the Treasury to keep printing dollars that don't even feel like real money and throwing them around our country. There's something wrong with the way we think. I am a grandfather of 10 grandchildren. I have read to them a story by Hans Christian Andersen called The Emperor Has No Clothes. In this story, there's a very vain emperor who thinks that he can fool everybody, and he's very pompous and he dresses in the finest clothes. Two con men come to him and say, we can weave some clothing and some fabric that only the most bright and the most understanding people will be able to see. The king buys this. He says, yes, that's me. That's me. These guys don't produce anything, but they produce an idea that somehow this fabric is going to point out just who are the smart people and who are the fools. So all the people who don't see anything are afraid to say, I don't see anything, because then they will be called fools. So they allow the king to go on, or the emperor to go on this magnificent idea of his, while the con men continue to fool everybody. It's not till the emperor goes out into the people and is parading around with nothing on, but thinking that I can't admit that I can't see it, because then I'll look stupid. And everybody else who's watching him says, well, we can't pretend that we can't say we can't see it, because then people would think we're stupid. All the words in the mouth of a child says, the emperor has no clothes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are buying a suit of clothes that everybody can see through and understand that there is no fine cloth. We are throwing ourselves under the weight of a debt that will consume us. We have enemies around the world that are watching us self-destruct and are rooting for us because they don't even have to lift a finger to beat the United States. We will beat ourselves, and we will do it in this very house. What in the world have we come to? Do we have the greatest nation the world has ever known? Have we helped more people than any nation in the world has ever helped? And will we continue to do that? Yes. Just going to present this to you, please. Sometimes our hearts are willing, but our wallets are weak. Let's not put ourselves in a position where we can no longer maintain our status as the leaders of the free world. Can you not see it coming? Is this not a titanic moment where this is not a small piece of ice? This is an iceberg that will sink this ship. I would just ask you to please look at what you're doing. Yes, we want to help people. Yes, we want to take people that can't help themselves. But we also want to do, as Mr. Smucker said, live the American dream. I'm not talking about people pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. I'm telling them, you know what? Every one of us has the opportunity. We may not have the same outcome, but we have the opportunity. Please, can we stop being Republicans and Democrats and just start being Americans? Let's start thinking with our heads instead of spewing out this narrative about we have this wonderful cloak that we're going to help everybody with. And you know what? Even the emperor knows he wears no clothes today. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. Let me recognize the gentleman.